What it is, my 10 Peace and Grease here, and I wanted to make a brief vid, well, as brief as I could, about some of the more subtle, inconspicuous changes that occurred with the Profit Taker Part 2 update. So the first one I would like to point out is the changes to the Physique Ore mod. Now, the Physique Ore mod was an ore mod that just, a lot of people didn't utilize because it really didn't have any redeeming qualities to use it over another aura mod. Well, that has been changed, and it now gives you a max health increase at 90% health. That's a substantial amount. However, with that said, it seems like the main frame that benefits the most from this is Anaros. So basically, if you're an Anaros fan, if you main Anaros, if you love Anaros, yeah, I would highly recommend running a Physique Aura mod because it works fantastic. Now, if you're wondering, okay, Peace, where do I get a Physique mod? What do I have to do to get one? Well, you're in luck because all you have to do is watch the alert tab, your alert tabs. At some point, an alert mission will pop up with the Physique Aura mod. Just run that mission, and bingo bango, you have yourself a Physique Aura mod. So the next mod I want to talk about is Magnum Force. Now, Magnum Force was the secondary version of Heavy Caliber. However, it did not have a significant impact on secondaries like Heavy Caliber does. Now, just as Heavy Caliber is a corrupted mod, so is Magnum Force, meaning there's a benefit, but there's also a downside. In this case, it's accuracy. So at max rank, the Magnum Force gives you 165% damage with minus 55% accuracy. Now you're probably wondering, okay, Peace, well, what type of secondary would you use Magnum Force on? Well, quite simply, I use it on secondaries such as the Mardatron, or the Atomos, or even the new kit gun, the Catch Moon, where accuracy isn't important. So yeah, that's where I use this mod. Now, if you're wondering, okay, Peace, well, where do I get this mod? Well, it's a corrupted mod just like Heavy Caliber, and you're going to have to run Volt runs. You're going to have to run Volt runs in the Orkin Derelict, I should say. Check out my my Volt Run vid if you'd like, not to plug my own content, but just simply it's easier for you guys to watch that there than it is for me to go through the whole thing here. So that's why I'm doing it. But the next set of mods I want to point out, which these are kind of obvious, you probably know, nobody probably missed these, but I'm going to point them out anyway because I think it's really cool. And that is the Strain mod set. Now, if you guys are Helmet Charger fans, and I know there's some of you guys out there that really love the Helmet Charger, you probably feel a little unloved and neglected by DE. Well, no longer. DE has released a mod set specifically for the Helmet Charger, and these are called the Strain mods. Now, there's 4 Strain mods total. There's Eruption, there is Fever, there is Infection, and there is Consume. As you can see, I still do not have Consume at this point. Still working on that one, but yeah, there are 4 total, and I think that they sound really cool. I haven't had a chance to use them, but if you guys have used the Strain mods, let me know down in the comments section your opinions on it, because I'd love to know, because this is next on my list to start testing, because the idea of them sounds really cool, and I'd like to give it a go. But the next mod I would like to point out to you guys, and this is a doozy, and that is the Fetch mod. The Fetch mod. Oh, this has been years in the making. Years. Now let me explain here. The Warframe community, and I do mean for years, has been asking for vacuum on pets. And DE has been resistant to that. No longer. The Fetch mod now gives your pets vacuum. Yeah. That's big. That's big. And I can tell you that this one singular mod, I have been using my pets more just recently than I ever have in the game of Warframe. My entire time in the game of Warframe. Because of vacuum. That's the #1 reason why I run Sentinels, is for vacuum. And having vacuum on my pets, yeah, I am running my pets far, far, far more now than I ever have. So you may be wondering, okay, Peace, but where do I get Fetch mods? Well, you're in luck. You actually just go down to Fortuna, go out in the wild of Orbalis, get your 1 and level up a little bit until the hyenas start spawning. Start killing the hyenas. And they tend to have a pretty good drop rate. I think I've gotten 3 or 4 total. I've given a couple to friends. I've got one left. But yeah, they seem to drop pretty doggone often. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the 60/60 mods for pets. Now, this is really cool. So, they actually released 4 new 60/60 mods. Now, if you don't know what 60/60 mods are, they are mods that give you 60% type of a status effect as well as 60% status chance. So, as you see here on Frostjaw, you get 60% cold and 60% status chance. Another one is Venom Teeth, which is right here. This gives you 60% toxin and 60% status chance. Now, there are 4 different types total, obviously. The other one is Flame Gland, which of course is 60/60 for fire, and Shock Collar, which is 60/60 for electric. So we'll now have 4 different 60/60 mods for your pets if you want to focus on like status, for example. So I think it definitely gives you some flexibility in your builds. And I think that's a good thing. So the next thing I want to talk about are Archwing mods. Now, I know what you're going to say. Peace, I don't care about Archwing. I don't like Archwing. I get it. I do. I get it. I totally do. However, understand that it's going to be kind of a requirement with Railjack. So, rather than trying to play catch up and get your Archwing equipment set now versus when Railjack launches is going to be a big benefit. So you don't have to worry about it. If your Archwing equipment's already all set up, it's already done. You've already got some form into them. You already got some good mods farmed up. Yeah, you're ready to go for Railjack. At least I'm going to assume at this point, since I don't know exactly what we're going to need for Railjack, but I'm just assuming. But you definitely, I don't think, want to wait till the day Railjack launches and then go, whoop, now I've got to start leveling this stuff and putting form into it and picking out a heavy weapon and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I would definitely suggest dealing with it now. But the whole reason why I'm bringing up arc gun weapons is because DE has added a substantial amount with the Profit Taker update. So, we've got stuff like quick reload, mark target, ammo chain, crit focus, sabot rounds, deadly efficiency, things of this nature, as well as Archwing Ace. And some of these, are better than others. For example, Resolute Focus seems to drop for me all the time, and it's a mod that I'll probably never use. But what I want to draw your attention to and why I'm bringing up arc guns here is because for ages, well, as long as I can remember since Archwing's been out, we've had this Magma Chamber, which is like the only 60/60 arc gun mod we've had. And finally, with the Profit Taker update, we finally get Hypothermic Shells, which is a 60/60 mod for ice, and Contamination Casing, which is a 60/60 for toxin, and Charged Bullets, which is, of course, 60/60 for electric. So this is a really good thing, in my opinion. And I'm glad to see it, because it almost kind of feels like DE forgot, stopped at Magma Chamber, and just recently now said, no. Oh. Okay, well, now we'll add them. So, if you're wondering, okay, well, where do I get these? Profit Taker. Yeah. So, if you're kind of getting the general idea here, if you don't have Profit Taker and you're not up to Profit Taker, you don't have it unlocked, that's definitely something I advise that you should be working on, because there are a lot of things in it that could be very useful. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Vent Kits, and I forgot to mention this in my Profit Taker vid. But the Vent Kits did add new K-Drive mods. So if you love the K-Drives, you might want to check them out for the new mods. The reason I didn't include it was because, quite honestly, I'm just not a fan of K-Drives. I don't really care about K-Drives. If you are, it's totally cool. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not for me. All right. As far as the K-Drive still being in the profile, I'm really hopeful that DE is going to pull that, because I don't care about K-Drives. So, why force me to have to use them to get MR from them when I don't have any interest in them? But to each their own. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the changes to the Oxalis. Now, the Oxalis Sentinel, I did make a video on this, so if you're interested in my opinions on it overall, you may check out that Oxalis vid. But what I'm referring to today, the changes that were made, were the scan matter has stayed the same. So it's basically kind of a slightly lower, we'll call it kind of an intermittent animal instinct. That's a better way to put it. But the next thing I want to talk about is that what the actual change to this, which is they've changed scan life forms, which gave you like +4 conservation encounters, to scan aquatic life forms. So this gives you reveals hotspots within 100 meters, which who cares, you know? But the important part here is it actually applies fish dye, luminous dye to fish within 40 meters. This is really cool because if you have to do a lot of fishing, or if you need a lot of those resources on the plains of Eidolon or on Orbalis, yeah, if you're fishing, why wouldn't you have an Oxalis? Particularly if you don't happen to have the blueprint yet for the luminous dye. Bingo bango. Just get an Oxalis Sentinel and you've got infinite luminous dye, right? I mean, at least that's my opinion of it. I will say the only downside I have personally noticed with the Oxalis Sentinel, and I wouldn't really call this a downside, but it does seem to take the Oxalis a few seconds to kind of figure out, oh, you're standing next to the water with the fishing spear in your hand, and you're wanting to fish, so perhaps I ought to throw out some luminous dye. So at times it does seem like your Oxalis Sentinel kind of goes, no, okay, now I'll throw out some dye. So there are kind of several seconds there where it just doesn't seem to want to put dye out. Other than that, though, I can't really complain. I definitely think this is an improvement. But with all those things said, hopefully some of these things are new to you guys. Maybe you missed them, just like I did on some of these things. But hopefully it helps you guys out and points it out. But let me know down in the comment section what you're most interested in. And until next time, peace and grace.